AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Has spring finally sprung? Here's John with our AgriWeather outlook.
April marches on, and you know what? The sunshine finally will win out. Even those cold, snow-covered areas of the northern plains are finally seeing the snow melting away, and we're really getting spring underway across the northern part of the country. The rest of the world has been in spring for a while. Rain showers are going to become a little more spotty as we go into the second half of April. I'm not seeing quite the widespread onslaught of stormy weather, but there certainly will be some April showers to talk about, and it is conceivable, in fact, it's likely that in a couple of areas of the country, the colder spots, there will be at least a rain-snow mix possible a couple of times, particularly as we get into the second week. I see a little bit of a cool down in some parts of the north, but it's definitely more of a spring weather pattern. Jet stream still has a few lobes in it, implying the ups and downs. The cold spots are cold, the warm spots are warm. We start off with some chilly weather in the northern plains. That won't last, though. That's actually going to be fading into just cool. The western half of the Dakotas, where there isn't much snow, if any, is going to be recovering nicely. The eastern Dakotas still melting snow, will be melting snow. It just won't be a terribly warm week because of that. Still fairly cold across Canada, and we're not seeing a lot of really hot weather. And by hot, this time of year, I'm talking about consistent 80s and some 90s thrown into that. The warm is 70s with maybe a stray 80. That's in the south. The Rockies, of course, are going to be cold this week, and the ambulatory up and down pattern of the jet stream this week, as we get toward the weekend, is going to begin to flatten out a bit. There will be a fairly deep low pressure trough over the northeast part of the continent, and that's going to keep New England fairly cool and eastern Canada very cold. The Rockies will continue to be fairly cool, although with this ridge of high pressure in place, there will be some warming up there. We're not going to see a lot of really hot weather in the south because of this phase, this lobe in the jet stream. The hot places will be Florida, Texas, and Arizona, Southern California, the usual spots. As we get toward that second week now, we're still seeing fairly cool weather. By that I mean a lot of 40s and 50s in the northern plains. But once you get south of there, some pretty nice spring weather. We've had some hot temperatures in the central plains and western part of the Midwest. The next couple of weeks will not be quite so warm. And with this cooler weather, there will be a slight chance of some snow. There might even be some snow in Minnesota, Wisconsin here later on toward the parts of this week. There will likely be some precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, which will mostly be noticed as rain, except in the mountain areas and the Gulf Coast areas through parts of Florida. Looks like some thunder showers in Florida. That's great news because this can be a fairly dry time of year in Florida, and the Everglades and some parts of central Florida can kind of catch on fire. It looks like we'll be a little more rainy for that down there. There will be a chance of some rain-snow mix in the northern plains toward the latter part of April. That's not unusual with the rain.